winter season came, it just flew by. And now it's 4 quarters, 32 minutes to separate who's best in the state. The 473rd game of the season is underway for the Division I championship. Takamiya, 16 points, tied a season high yesterday in that semifinal win over University Laboratory. Punahou has been patient and prodding, and Watanabe gets to the bucket too strong. And here comes Pupu Sepulona and the Crusader offense.
Important to see how this game's going to be called, because a lot of physicality, I think, favors Punahou because of the strength of Pupu Sepulona down under the paint. If you can't touch him, there's no way you're going to stop him, so they're going to have to allow some bumping. But this is the crew of referees that are likely to call this closer to a college game and allow some contact.
Daniel Matsumura, Eric Morales, Lloyd Lee are officials. Meacham opens with a short shot. It comes out here to the guy who had double-double yesterday in Zion White. 10 points and 11 rebounds. White accelerates against Sepulona. Over Sepulona. Off. And Revelto able to get the rebound. Quickly, Fernando right to the bucket, and he drew a foul. Got it up there. It's against Dane Kellner, who picks up the personal. And 2 free throws here for Fernando.
St. Louis looking to push out in transition themselves, trying to get an easy bucket, knowing that Punahou's going to sit back, use their athleticism, use their size to stay in front. So Kalen Fernando attacks the rack early.
Fernando, 65% this year, coming off 8 points yesterday, in a relatively low-scoring game, 38-31. It was the lowest scoring win for St. Louis this year of their 15 played games. In and out. White the rebound.
Last time down, I thought Zion White had the opportunity to go to the basket and try and draw a foul on Pupu Sepulona early. He elected to kind of cross him up and look for the jumper instead.
White gives a high handoff. Gonna go the other way, didn't establish that screen, and White picks up his first. Remember, White got into semi-early foul trouble yesterday, and he gets his first one here, 1 minute and 14 seconds in.
Really looking to see this replay. We did see him slide there after the pass. Didn't see it in real time, but referee Daniel Matsumura saw that as a foul.
Sepulona. Air ball. Takamiya the rebound.
If you're Punahou, you got no problem with that.
Yep.
So Zion White started working early, allowed him to catch about 10 feet off the block.
Kellner lost it on the drive. Kind of sloppy play early on. Expected?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you're trying to figure out how it's going to be called, that foul may be a foul due to the contact. They don't call it, so you realize, and Dane Kellner needs to realize that he has to play through that contact, and he needs to expect it.
Sepulona got better positioning inside. He goes right on White. If it is on White, it's his second. Oh, and it is. So White has picked up 2 already here in the opening quarter.
Pupu Sepulona, when he gets to that left hand and he can throw that shoulder into your body, there's no recovering from it. It puts the referees in such a difficult position as to whether or not to make a call like that, because he's semi-initiating it, but it's still contact.
Nohoa Lloyd had great minutes yesterday in the semifinals. Had 4 points, had also a block yesterday. He gets some time now, and he'll get the job, we assume, on Sepulona, who's been struggling at the line this year, but he goes 1 of 2. And it's a 2-0 lead. Punahou coming off that 3-point win over the Junior Bows. Here's Takamiya off on the 3, and Meacham, one of 4 white jerseys around the bucket to get that rebound.
If there's any comfort, Punahou played that last game. Of course, they lost it, but they played it without Zion White, so they've had to have other guys step up.
Fernando stepping up here. Punahou can get shell-shocked early on in games. It happened yesterday against the Junior Bows. Somehow fought themselves back into the game. But St. Louis's defense has been steady. En route to this 15-0 season so far. 9 to shoot, Watanabe gave it up. Lloyd inside, can't get it. And it's Meacham the rebound. And Punahou's opened the game 0 for 4.
Not a bad opportunity in there for Lloyd. So when you're in this moment and you're not scoring, you just want to continue to take good shots.
Fernando! Timeout, Buff and Blue. 7-0 St. Louis. You know, he kind of got to a slow offensive start yesterday. And now quickly 5 points from the field, and then one at the line. He's got 6 already.
Yeah, he's finding himself in good positions. And, you know, the last time these teams played, Kalen Fernando had 22 points, 4 3-pointers. He was the high scorer in that game, and just continuing where he left off. Sometimes when you see a team and you know how you feel and you have some success, it just continues.
Seabury Hall started their game on a 9-0 run. They go 7-0 St. Louis run. There you see, it's advertised as a red out here for St. Louis. And they're right next to the Punahou section. That's been in a buff out, if you want to call it that.
It's a little fluorescent.
Yes. And the beat Punahou chants begin.
That is a ruthless cheering section up there.
Fernando had 8 points, as I mentioned yesterday. He has 6 already. Meacham guards Watanabe. Punahou 0 for 4 to start. And without Zion White, he picked up 2 fouls quick. Watanabe, 4-year varsity man, forces it up and gets it down.
Dash Watanabe has played like a senior this entire season, staying composed, getting the big buckets when they needed them. He's one of those guys that has so much composure, played so many years. He's been on this team for quite a while.
Meacham off. Meacham the tip. That guy can just flat out ball.
You know, you're watching St. Louis and you're saying, where did these guys come from? And to start the entire preseason, Pupo Sepuloma didn't even play.
Counter gave it up here to Lloyd, and Lloyd missed the bunny.
You know, and while he was out, it allowed other guys to develop and step up and get opportunities. And
Watanabe had his pocket picked by Meacham. Meacham just roared, let's go.
Meacham was definitely one of those guys. Had the chance to take more shots and showed his ability to knock him down and build that confidence.
A whip in there, good job there from Watanabe. He got it off of Parker. Stone Canoa is out there, just off his hands. Tough finish there for Watanabe. Meacham, baller alert, 9-2 St. Louis. here for St. Louis. Nunoha had great minutes and great hustle plays yesterday. Noah Gaudiano also in, along with Houston Hosoda for the Buff and Blue.
You know, I'm still completely amazed that Stone Kanoa was out here playing. I didn't think there was any chance. I had already said there's no way he's in this game, and there he was starting.
And he hasn't even moved that other arm. He's on the bench right now, but he's essentially been playing with one arm. But he's not swinging that arm as he's running, too. Who's going to step up here for Punahou? Kellner all the way to the cup. Kellner had an offer for football from the University of Montana recently, showing off that football speed on the hardwood. Gets to the hole.
Hasn't scored a lot this season, but he has that ability. Really is playing the point guard position, dishing to other guys. But now in this moment, where you have Zion White out of the game, Tanoa Scanlon out with an injury, a little bit of everything has to come from different guys here this season.
The collapse on Cephalona, the double cannon force, near turnover. Meacham in traffic, and they're still fighting for it. And a foul's going to go against Meacham.
Punahou just staying scrappy, gets the tip, gets the touch, reaches down there and keeps fighting for the ball.
Look at Tate. Tate Takamiya in that. Two for 7 here for the Buff and Blue, who shot the ball very well yesterday, 53%. Takamiya tough, too. Comes out to the football standout, Jordan Nunoha. Fernando, stop and go. Too strong. They want to push, they can, and they don't. And here comes Takamiya back the other side. Tate Takamiya against Sepulona. Come set the screen switch here, Nunoha defensively. Gaudiano ran into a wall, and his name is Pupu Sepulona. Triple team coming, and a foul. This is against St. Louis. It's their second of the quarter. No, it's on Meacham, so Meacham picks up his second now here in this first quarter.
Ethan Chung trying to force the action. He was the leading scorer the last time these two teams played. Offense came from Chung and Takamiya. They combined for 30 points.
Takamiya straight on. He was hitting that shot yesterday, shortens that one.
In different environments. It's going to take him some time to get used to this basket. Different than shooting at McKinley, so give him some time.
A lob, Sepulona. Go to the free throw line.
Just a tough catch by Sepulona. And again, when he's on that left side, he has a defender close. The ability to elevate, take the bump, and just kind of hang there with that left hand. It's either a foul or a bucket.
Gaudiano gets called for the foul. Bailey is in here for St. Louis. What did you like about what Kahuku did yesterday on this St. Louis team that maybe Punahou might want to duplicate here today?
They were playing with more size there on the backside, sagging a bit more, playing in the paint, giving up those longer shots. And that might be an option. You know, with Shanti Rebelto's hand, who knows how well he can shoot it. He's been the hot hand from the outside, separating them, creating that extra space on the inside because he was hitting shots. And we don't know if he can hit them. So maybe you play back a little bit more until he proves that he can make those.
Back door in traffic. This is going to stay on this side as they're trying to find Hosoda. St. Louis has done a great job interior defense inside the paint, shutting everything down. And the dynamic really kind of changed here without Zion White. Takamiya slammed on the brakes and he threw it away. Punahou playing sloppy. This defense really shutting things down. Rebelto a triple. Gaudiano, good job to get the rebound. 17-second differential, Watanabe. Chung from his office. Gaudiano got another rebound. Refeed, Hosoda fakes it, takes it. Couldn't make it.
These are the right shots, and they're not missing them by much. Still the first quarter, still trying to figure out this rim, getting a feel for this game. If they continue to shoot those, you got to believe that they're going to start to fall.
St. Louis, in theory, can hold for the final shot, even though there's about a 1.5 second differential. St. Louis, 38% shooting, 3 for 8. They only had 3 field goals in the first half yesterday. Fernando, but first, a whistle going to go the other way. On Sepulona. Contact away from the ball. It is. I saw 35. Kind of washed him off.
Yeah, that moving screen. He saw the defender going to close out and step to the side. Got that moving screen call.
3 to shoot, Takamiya. Lost it again. And the quarter comes to a close. Great job from St. Louis. Watanabe did everything he could to try and attack the rim. Him along with Kellner, 2 leaders in this group. St. Louis on top by 7 after 1.
Conference road trips. Rainbow Wahine basketball. Only on Spectrum Sports.
Coming up tomorrow, we'll have the Texaco State Wrestling Championship matches for you on Spectrum OC 16. Tune in tomorrow. Darren Hernandez joins us at 4 o'clock. And again, you know that guy, right?
Sometimes I know him when he's acting right.
Yeah. Well, he's just chilling. And he's a floor wiper, right?
He's a floor wiper tonight.
Now, typically, aren't the floor wipers usually like sitting on the floor? Instead, not like those expensive seats that they get.
Those chairs are comfortable.
For the sponsorship.
He's resting up. There's a big tournament this weekend, the Shaka Classic, put on by AAU Hawaii. And so he has a couple games tomorrow.
And remind me again, that 5-year plaque that we gave you, where is it now?
That's in my other son's room.
Okay. Well, we'll give you a 6-year plaque, and then we'll each have one. St. Louis shot 38% from the field in the first quarter. This foul's going to go against Nahua Lloyd. Picks up the personal. Dan Hale in his 6th season with the program. These two coaches know each other very well. When Darren Matsuda joined the program in 2006, he was an assistant under Dan Hale. And a foul in the act of shooting. It's on Dash Watanabe.
Dash Watanabe saw that lob coming to Nanuha and just went up to be physical. Nothing easy.
Nanuha just 3 of 7 now for this season. At the line, Vergallo's offers from Oregon and Nevada. Part of a great St. Louis bloodline of Nanuha's, as you mentioned, historically, right? Jameson, Jimmy Nanuha, both of them football and basketball athletes. White, who is in, going to play with 2 fouls, gets that rebound, and we'll see how he'll try and manage the minutes that he missed out on, how his attitude will be like on the floor. White off on the shot.
You just wonder if he's going to hesitate a bit going to the rack because he cannot afford to pick up a charging foul offensively and pick up that third. Much better, obviously, attacking than he is shooting that jumper. But, again, worried.
Yeah. Sepulona, fronted by Lloyd and Watanabe. Sepulona, Kalihi boy across the lane, lost it. Picked up by White, he's off to the races. White, right to the hole.
That's a little more like him. Getting out in transition. But again, he has that ability to go full speed, stop on a dime, change direction, and then go up with a soft finish.
Stop on a dime, exactly right. Man, did he slam on the brakes as Fernando has a clear path to the bucket. Fernando already 8 points here in this first half.
Zion White unable to challenge that shot, so guards have to do a better job of keeping their man in front because on the backside, you don't have a player that can go and block shots and challenge because of the fouls.
Watanabe 3. No good. Kellner couldn't collect. Came out to Nanuha. Roberto was kind of shaking his hand during the in-between quarters timeout. Trying to check on that hand. That right hand where he jabbed. After trying to go after a pass, jammed his finger. Sepulona against Lloyd. Fading, firing, hitting. Timeout, Punahou.
Those are the moments where you get worried if you're the Punahou defense. When Pupu Sepulona can knock down that turnaround jumper, and it really is a problem. And here, Zion White, you missed that through the entire first quarter because he was sitting with 2 fouls. With Pupu Sepulona, a real force on the inside. You do a great job, you stay in front, you force him to shoot the turnaround, and then he buries it. Demoralizing.
St. Louis has won 9 HHSAA titles. The great Walter Wong won the first 5 in that program's history. Of course, they had the Walter Wong Invitational in that preseason tournament that was long-standing when it was played at McCabe Gym. Kaipo Spencer in 1986 won one. Then Dan Hales won it from 2022 to 2024. Of course, he won it with Punahou as well, about 17 years ago. And St. Louis, again, just finding ways. St. Louis does a great job, but look, play whatever game you want to play. We'll adjust and we'll maximize. They are chameleons here.
Yeah, you are exactly right. They just do what they do, and they do it consistently. And whichever guy is open is the guy that's going to take the shot. Of course, Pupu Sepulona is the focal point, but if he's not open, he's a willing passer, and it opens up other lanes, and the other guys are going to take it, and they're very capable of making it. Here you see him coming out of the game. Past years, he wouldn't come out too often. This year, they trust these other guys, Corey Bailey being one of them, Nainoa Lopes, just to get in and do the job even in his absence.
White, double coming, turnover. Punahou yesterday had 15 turnovers. The University Laboratory scored 15 points off those 15 turnovers yesterday. St. Louis has a 15-6 lead and currently on an 8-2 run. There's Lopes, state champion for the football team, the quarterback. Gave it up to Fernando, who's had the hot hand. Open Revelto. A 2. And a miss, didn't hit the rim. Shot clock did not reset. 10 to shoot here for the boys. 5 to shoot. Rotate, Revelto, that's 3. And White gobbles up another rebound. Number 4 for him here tonight. Lobbing one, Watanabe got positioning by his old football buddy.
And Punahou getting out in transition. You see how quickly Zion White grabs a rebound and turns it up the court. A better pass this time than the last, and a finish by Dash Watanabe.
Batted by White, kept alive here by Corey Bailey. Gets right to the hole and score it. Bailey averaging 5 a game, only had 3 rebounds yesterday, and he gets 2 here in the tournament.
He's been a stellar sub, and he comes in for Pupu Sepulona, but he is still a post threat himself. One of those players that got opportunity while Pupu Sepulona was out during the preseason.
And there goes Zion White again. 10 Division I football offers. The Eva Beach boy knocking it down. This ball goes out of bounds here with 4 minutes to go. Each team kind of jabbing, but St. Louis with the bigger counter punches. Watanabe slides inside for that 2. And Corey Bailey, look at the work ethic on him. Answering back quick.
Popeyes has the best of both wings. Our juicy chicken is
For the Rainbow Wahine, will hope to continue the win streak as they take on UC San Diego. It is on Spectrum Sports tomorrow. Game on gets you going at 6:30. 4 minutes here to go. Oh, that's an adorable baby here. We see so many kids that come to these tournaments, and then, you know, some of them go on and play basketball and they end up playing in the state tournament. And now here for St. Louis, they're up 17-10 after winning the 3 previous meetings this year against the Buff and Blue.
Punahou going into this 2-3 zone, see if they can protect the inside a little bit better.
The Chung right at the bottom. They have 3 to shoot here. Fernando, clutch.
Man, how many times have we seen St. Louis late clock? Looks like a terrible, ugly possession, and they just find their way to a bucket. And it's been different guys every time.
No lob there for White. Swing here for Chung. Here's Takamiya. Gets right to the bucket, draws contact, and now the chance to do some damage at the line. They'll mark it on Sepulona, picks up his second.
St. Louis just trying to get to the middle of that zone, and in the last few seconds of that shot clock, Fernando finds his way in there and rolls one in.
Takamiya shortens that one. He's 6 of 8 now for the tournament. Way better than his 64% for the season. And he's coming off 4 consecutive games of 10 or more points. Been trying to create a lot of activity here, but it's ended up on the wrong side. Zayden Blake Kaliko, who did not play yesterday, gets into the game. And one of the smaller lineups on the floor now here for St. Louis, with Sepulona sitting on the bench with 2 fouls.
Meacham also out. And Stone Kanoa just limited, right, with his injury.
Got a foul. Came away from the ball. Is this on Chung? Yes, it was. I'm trying to clear up space.
Corey Bailey did a nice job of sealing there. Chung was trying to get around and hooked him a bit with that opposite hand.
It's a 13th foul, by the way, here on the Buffalo Blues. This ball just is tipped out of bounds. St. Louis has 19 points right now. They only had 13 at the half yesterday against a Kahuku team that played well defensively against them. Bailey sets the screen for Nando. Manuha, jab step, now pops it and hits it. Yeah, that's a Manuha for you.
From coach's perspective, that's St. Louis for you.
Yeah.
Nunuha could score 2 points a game sometimes, could score 10. There's several guys on this roster just capable of going double digits at any time.
Travel, gonna go the other way.
St. Louis always looking for that best opportunity. In that moment, it was Nunuha rising up from 16 feet and just buries it with confidence.
Revelto, 4-year point guard for this group. 3 in the starting role. Gets a good catch, gets it down the lane. Too strong off the window, and Zion White gets rebound number 5. Only 2 guys, make it 3 guys have had a rebound here tonight for Punahou. White, good find. Takamiya gave it up. It was the right decision. 100 seconds to go in the half.
Takumi has been pretty out of sync. I thought those free throws might help him find his rhythm, find his shot. Missed that last one, but able to get that dump off. And his confidence is so important. It's so important for him to be high at the confidence level because it just makes him a better player.
8-point game, Nanuha triple teamed. Put it low, corner. It is off by Kaliko. St. Louis fans rising up, hoping that Kaliko would have hit that. He only hit 1 this entire season. Zion White gave it up. Counter, kick, Watanabe. In and out on a 3. Outlet for Nando. He's got some jets. You got Bailey who threw it away. Counter now. 3-on-3 this side. Counter, kick, Chung, fake, take, 3. Good!
What started that opportunity was Dash Watanabe playing in transition in that 2-on-1, 2-on-2 opportunity, and he just slowed the ball down enough for them to get the steal.
5-point game. Revelto on the way to the rack. Get 2 free throws coming his way. Now Revelto, remember, he airballed a free throw yesterday post hand injury. Then he went to the left and he banked it in. We'll see what the mechanic will be here today for Revelto, who is 45% this season at the line. Not bad.
Well, we saw him take those 3s early.
Yeah.
So he clearly feels comfortable shooting them. Whether or not he's a little bit off, I think he is. He's been so accurate over the last few games that they played against Punahou. Actually has 9 3-pointers over the course of those 3 games.
Offensive rebound, St. Louis. But this season, Revelto's vision and his passing has been almost as deadly as his shooting this year. And everybody involved. The shot clock is off. St. Louis has shot 47% so far in the half. Bailey, 5 to shoot. Revelto in the lane. In and out, Nanuha can't get the follow tip. And the half comes to a close. Strong defense both sides, yielding some football scores at the half, if you will. 22-16, the 3-time defending state champs on top on Spectrum OC16. Back here in Manoa, 22-16. St. Louis has a 6-point lead right now, trying to cash in on a 4th consecutive state championship. Back here at Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center, Kalen Fernando had 8 points in the entire game yesterday in that win over Punahou. He has 10 already in the state final and 4 or 5 shooting from the floor.
He just was hot the last time they played. 22 points, 4 3-pointers, and continued from the start of this game. And he got a little bit of everything. Got some floaters to the inside, hit some jumpers, got all the way to the rim, and knocked down a 3. And it doesn't have to be Pupu Sepulveda with this team. They have other players. Kalen Fernando is just one of them.
What would you tell Punahou right now in a game where it feels like that they're down 16? Look at the scoreboard, they're only down 6 right now.
Well, they got to feel pretty good about this. I know they're down 6, but that's just 6. It feels like a game that the Crusaders are really dominating, but the margin is more than something that they can make up. Tate Takamiya has yet to get going. They really haven't hit shots yet from the outside. Ethan Chung, more than capable themselves. So if they can continue on this run, get out in transition, sometimes it's going to be at the basket, but sometimes it's also going to be kickouts. And we saw Chung get one. He wants to get more.
And right now, St. Louis is on an 11-game state tournament win streak, trying to get it to 12 and trying to hoist the trophy for a 4th consecutive year. The ball's in favor and in the court here of St. Louis and the Brotherhood right now on top by 6.
Tough loss, Coach. Any words?
They just played a much better game.
Did you say?
Punahou 37% shooting in the first half. Dash Watanabe's got 2 points, or 4 points, excuse me, 2 of 5 from the field. Zion White's got 4 points and 6 rebounds. Things got better in that second quarter. They were 5 of 8 from the field after a relatively slow start, but they got to cut down on the turnovers. They have 7 already, and Chunk finally hits a 3 that kind of boosts up the buff and blue in that first half. Right through the drive-thru for the Jack in the Box halftime stats.
You see it 37% from the field for Punahou. They started the game 2 for 11, 18%, and then really picked it up there in the second quarter. 5 for 8 in the second quarter, 63%. So a big difference when Zion White got back into the game. So none of these stats, that different. But Zion White picking up the fouls, going out really in the first minute of the first quarter, and then coming back. Why did it get better? Well, he got back in the game.
Yeah, and that energy is massive here if Punahou wants to win a state championship for the first time in 7 years. But right now, they got to dig themselves out of a 6-point hole right now. It's the #1 seed in the tournament on top. Jimmy Bender coming your way on the other side of this timeout. You're watching the HHSAA Division I State Championship on Spectrum OC16.
Wow, everything is shiny here tonight at Stan Sheriff Center. Even shiny right there. There we go. How's that for shine? Who wins the contest? Tell you right now, St. Louis winning 22-16, a 6-point lead over Punahou. Darren Matsuda, before the game, had told me this is one of those games we're just going to go out, see what happens, and make the adjustments. The adjustment he wants to make right now going into the second half is being patient. He said, I see some cracks in that St. Louis armor, but we have to be patient, find the crack, attack it, and then, of course, we've got to finish at that point as well. Guys, this is going to be a fun second half. Back to you.
Sure, you've had some halftime deficits and some pressure situation games. You've always had a calm demeanor. Is it tough as a coach trying to display that calm demeanor to the rest of your players in a matchup such as this? How did you handle that?
You need a little bit of motivation. Even in a game like this, which is a championship, sometimes you got to be fiery. But in certain moments, you're looking at the score and say, it's a 6-point game. We did not play our best, but yet it's a 6-point game, and we are right there. And I feel like I was in those moments, and you feel like you're getting beaten down, you're getting off to a slow start, but you're maintaining, and you're within striking distance. So this would be those scenarios where you are saying, hey, don't worry about this. Continue to play great defense, and then the offense will come, and it'll pick up, and it'll be right there.
Our buddy Darren Hernandez told me this story when he was coaching football at Campbell. If he was down, you know, in a game where he felt like they should have been up, like he would have that similar impassioned speech, in a sense almost like a stage speech, if you will. So he was like, hey, get me an empty water jug and kind of loosen the top. Then he would go into the locker room and he would like throw the water jug, the lid would go everywhere. No one would get hurt, but just to show his passion of what he means and the message that he wants to get across to the kids.
No, that happened to me.
Yeah?
We came into a halftime and we were playing a great game. This was in an Uline Classic against Fairfax, and we were right there. And there was a broken board, the exact same board that we had. It was on the ground. And I picked it up. Our guys had actually played a great half. We didn't finish it well. And so I went in there and I said, what was that? How can we finish like that? Slam the board against the pole. It breaks in half. And their eyes were wide.
Like, whoa.
I was about to tell them, no, it was already broken. But the moment was great, and they came out fired up in the second half.
Chung, Takamiya, Kellner, White, and Watanabe on the floor here to begin the third for Punahou. Here's Watanabe hanging, and a great block from Fernando, but it's Kellner to recover and get the bucket. And so a great play from Fernando, all for naught.
Dane Kellner in right place, right time. That second effort, not giving up on the play, and 6 points is now 4.
Ravelto, Sepulona, Meacham, Fernando, and Kanoa on the floor. Kanoa still playing with that injured left elbow that he suffered yesterday in the semifinal round against Kahuku. Sepulona is playing with 2 fouls. Got it up to Meacham. Got it. You want a security blanket? You want a safety valve? Turn him up.
Meacham hasn't scored in the last few games. He really hasn't even looked for a shot, but here he is.
Chung lost it. Ravelto's got it. Oh! Zion White says don't go in there. Oh, oh, oh.
Was that LeBron?
Woo!
Sheesh.
What
just in a flash.
What a chase down.
Man, look at the pursuit. I didn't think he was going to get there. He easily got there.
Captain on this side, travel here on Meacham. The other way. Just an athlete, huh?
Just, you can't account for that. You think you have a wide open breakaway, and someone comes past the 3 guys that are pursuing you and puts it off the floor.
Here's Takamiya working around a White screen. White gonna go up against Sepulona. Off there, off Fernando, and Fernando, smallest guy there, finds Meacham against Chung. Meacham, oh, that guy is butter. Woo, Meacham, nice finish. Takamiya draws contact to go to the line. Meacham, teach him.
just an athlete himself, but it was the advanced pass by Kalen Fernando that got it to the open Meacham. Ethan Chung was the first guy back, but didn't even realize the ball was going there, so he was on pursuit, ran right past Meacham on the finish.
Takamiya's done a good job. He's trying to settle in now after some rough starts. Averaging 14 in the tournament. Takamiya tonight, 4 points. And he's shooting the ball fairly well at the line. He's at 80% here in the tournament.
Struggled to find the stroke on the jumper, so that time just took it straight to the paint. Went right at Fernando, just put his shoulder in his chest and drew the foul.
Lead is 7 here. Sepulona. Couple of steps, in and out. White among the trees has it, and a foul here. If it's on Meacham, it's his third. It's on Meacham.
Zion White doesn't have to make the spectacular play. He can make the gritty ones too. He was the only player for Punahou going up for that rebound between Nunuha, between Meacham, who are great athletes on their own, and just rose up with the strength, kept a hold of it, drew a foul.
Would you like to have Zion White run point, huh? Takamiya short. White tries to play dodgeball. Good job there from Nunuha to escape. Watanabe will guard Revelto.
I like Punahou staying in this 2-3 zone. The last time they got out of it pretty quickly when Kalen Fernando got that late clock floater. This time staying in it despite the jumper by Meacham.
Sepulona, great positioning inside, but was too strong on the shot, and White wants to run now. Punahou's opened the quarter 1 for 4. White with Sepulona on him, and this one batted away by Revelto here with 25 to shoot.
So that last defensive possession for Punahou, staying in that 2-3 zone, it allows people to collapse quickly on the inside guys like Pupu Sepulona. So defense there in the front, and it actually came from a disruption on the backside that forced him to miss.
There's Watanabe coming across, kick out, counter. Knocked in the three. Kellner, that's his first one of the tournament. Timeout, St. Louis. Well, when you're trailing, sometimes it just brings the best out of you. And Dane's got that Kellner instinct. Pulls Punahou within 4. Games left of the season. It's on Spectrum Sports. Well, the Seabury Hall look like, right, with the crowns on, right? Of course, they will chop down the net. During the last sequence, before we went to break, it was Stone Kanoa that was walking through the tunnel and had that elbow kind of re-wrapped and re-iced. Was feeling some soreness. He's just been ultra tough here in the tournament. And now St. Louis still on top by 4. And Punahou looking for a stop to build some more steam. Here's Fernando. He's got 10 points. Leads all St. Louis scores. Cepolona whipped it. Fernando lost it. And a turnover. For St. Louis, that's turnover number 8.
Again, the zone has been disruptive. Important for Punahou to understand who the shooters are on the floor for St. Louis. So Pupu Cepolona made the perfect skip out to Kalen Fernando because he's the guy that can knock it down within this unit and nearly got one off.
White almost lost it, got it back, and got it! Oh. Got a 2-point game. Bailey short, and Punahou has a chance to tie or take. Punahou has never led tonight. Hosoda, kick, corner, fake it, Kellner, short, loose, Kellner got fouled. If it's on Fernando, it's his second. It is.
Zion White just turning, spinning, losing the ball, regathering, and going again, taking that bump on the bottom half, but the strength and the athleticism to play through that contact and get the jumper to fall.
Inside of 3 minutes, third quarter. Watanabe to Chung. One of the best three-point shooters in the state, trying to back down. Double coming. White open for the lead. Back tap, Chung, open, that's 3, that's good!
What a run by Punahou, but it's starting on the defensive end. Difficult shots, possession after possession for St. Louis, nothing easy.
Gonna hold, it's gonna go against Chung. And Chung saying, hey, what did I do? This was away from the ball. How about this back tap that was just sailed back out there? That Kellner, I think, got it.
Kellner, the smallest guy on the floor, but a great athlete himself. So do you get an offensive rebound and an assist on that?
Fernando off on his 3. Oh man, a one-handed rebound by Nanua. What athleticism. Goes up and gets it. A whip inside. Nanua's open on a great find from Fernando.
Chung going out of the game with that third foul. Of course, it affects the shooting, but it also affects the defense.
Watanabe hit the heel. The tip went in.
Kellner. Is that Kellner again?
And 5-11 goes up. 29-28. Who's going to step up here for St. Louis? Things looking a little shaky here. Possession basketball down to 10 on the red clock. Fernando pulls. Off there. Rebound for Gaudiano. Watanabe. Got the roll! His 11th of the season, the 3rd of the tournament, and Punahou has got a 4-point lead.
Wow, what a shot by Dash Watanabe.
Polk, was it a foul here in Gaudiano as White and Cepolona are battling for it still. And from behind, it is on Gaudiano to pick up the foul. How about Dash Watanabe, who's playing in the state final, much like his brother Drake Watanabe did about 5 years ago when he played for Roosevelt. Steve Hathaway was the coach. Steve Hathaway's now an assistant here with the Buff and Blue.
Saw Dash Watanabe stepping into that shot, and I'm going, oh no, is this a heat check? And from a coach's perspective, you're going, I don't know if that's the shot we want until it goes in.
46.5 to go here in the third. Fernando looking for options. Bailey looking for Sepulona. He's got him on the box. Bailey pulls. Wide right. White accelerates. White lost it. White gave it up. Shot clock's off. White rushing. Hosoda has a three. Way off. Sepulona the rebound. They get a hell for the final.
Yeah, another opportunity. Now St. Louis can get this last shot.
Seven to shoot here for Revelto and the Crusaders. Revelto takes it. In and out. Gadiana the rebound. And Punahou will take a 4-point lead to the fourth. Big quarter for the Buff and Blue. They outscore them 16-6. And this presentation of the Division I State Championship here on Spectrum OC 16 continues after this.
This Spectrum OC 16 sports presentation is sponsored by New City Nissan.
Popeyes has the best.
Back here at Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. Tonight's attendance for this Division I championship, 2,272. It is loud. Much of the lower bowl is full. Of course, there's other events going on here on UH's campus with baseball, game 2 of the series against Wichita State. The two ILH squads going at it in front of 2,272. The record, by the way, is 7,100 between Radford and Kamehameha that came in the early 70s. At the old HIC. Fourth quarter begins. White. No good. It's going to be a tie-up, and the arrow's going to go the other way. We've seen this story play out multiple times. It happened against Campbell in this building. It happened towards the third quarter last year, I think, at the Blaze Dome, and we could see it here tonight. St. Louis finds a way. How does St. Louis do it here?
Well, what we talked about Punahou being down just 6, right? St. Louis in a similar position, now down 4 themselves. So that's just a couple shots, and we saw how quickly their lead evaporated. They're going to look to do the same. Just one of the best finishing teams in the state, if not the best.
Fernando up there, short, batted around. Chung No came out here to Hosoda. And here comes Zion White. White, 6 points, 9 rebounds. White on Sepulona, he traveled. Good call, Daniel Matsumura. White can sense the moment, and you feel like he's just trying to put on a show, or at least try and win one, win that mini battle within the game. Sometimes not the greatest idea.
That's right, and St. Louis has been so good down the stretch because of their composure. So Punahou, a lot of youth, they have seniors on their roster, did a great job of finishing their last night, but they're going to need every bit of their decision making and their composure down the stretch here today.
A dueling offense and defensive chants from the school's fan bases. Revelto carves in the lane. Too strong. Sepulona flies in for the rebound. And he finished! The bang and a bucket and a chance for 3. On Kellner.
Shantu Revelto makes that drive into the paint, and even though he doesn't get it to go, he draws attention, which opens the opportunity for Pupu Sepulona to go to the offensive glass. And when he gets it that deep, doesn't matter how many bodies are around him, he's going to find a way to get a bucket.
Boy, was he quiet in that third quarter as well. Sepulona, who had 5 points at the half, gets his first 2 of the second half, and he shortens the free throw. 2-point game.
Punahou through that third quarter was able to get buckets and build that lead because of second chance opportunities.
Watanabe attacks the bucket and gets it to drop. 9 for Watanabe. Too shy of his season high, by the way.
There's one of those seniors making him play. And the smart play too, getting to the rim. Opportunity to draw a foul or get a finish.
Travel, Fernando. Watanabe, kind of a complete polar opposite of his brother, and both of them extra talented. Drake, a little bit more loud, extroverted. Dash, kind of a little bit more introverted, but he has that quiet confidence that has been such a steadying presence here for Punahou, and it's shining here in this final game of the season. Chung sets the screen. Meacham guards Watanabe. White to Watanabe. Look at Revelto. Just get that out of here. Get out of here with that stuff, because you know how many passes we've seen him just get in the lane to swat it. So good.
He's just so aware of what's going on the floor. Was always in the right position.
Oh my goodness! Thrown away. Some of the youth coming out here for Punahou.
Yeah, the understanding of how important possessions are, especially down the stretch. And he said that's the difference with St. Louis. They really value him. So Zion White was looking for the right opportunity. He just needs to make sure that pass gets there. Hold it with 2 hands, pivot well, and put that in Ethan Chung's hands.
Revelto try to reverse it. White gets the rebound. He's got 10. White refusing to give the ball up. Now he finds Kellner. Kellner attacks. Got it! And 1. It's on Revelto. Look at the hesitation.
Just the patience by Dane Kellner. Plays through the contact, gets to the rim. Already at 11 points, his season high was 10. And that was about 11 games ago.
It's on Fernando officially, the foul as that ball gets out. Big week here for Kellner, right? Got the University of Montana offer. He dealt with a hand injury over the course of the last couple of seasons. He was a great shooter during the JV year. He averages about 4 in the tournament. And here for Kellner, he's got 12.
So we talked about it in that last game where these two teams played. St. Louis got the 63-56 win, but that was with Kellner sick, playing a couple minutes. Zion White completely out sick, didn't play at all. And these are players counting between the two of them 18 points and 15 rebounds.
Wow. Are you nailed at the top, Coach, as far as, you know, this is a matchup between both of these squads that we haven't really seen before, given those injuries and those adversities that we've come to follow during the ILH regular season. And right now in the corner, Meacham, tough three, that's off. St. Louis gets an offensive rebound. Fernando's been working his tail off here today.
Yeah, it's really something interesting with Coach Darren Matsuda. They didn't have to reinvent themselves. They were forced to reinvent themselves.
Did he travel? Yes, he did. Turnover. The 10th here for St. Louis. St. Louis has gone 4 for 16 here, shooting in the second half, and 0 for 5 from 3.
We said it earlier, the zone allows bodies to converge. There you see Dash Watanabe inside, Zion White able to stay on the backside. Forced a little confusion, and sitting on that left hand of Pupu Sepulone, he loves to turn over that right shoulder.
Tanoa Scanlon on the bench looked at Zion White and said, dude, slow down. And the handout. Milk out the clock. Watanabe running out of real estate here. What a find out. Kellner! Oh.
Dang, Kellner, where have you been?
A foul here with 3:41 to go. This is going to go on Zion White with 3:41 to go. You know how everyone says, you know, we got that dog in them? Well, there are dogs, and then there are Great Danes. 38-30.
Tough loss, Coach. Any words?
We hit the mats with some of the best in the state to find out who can grapple their way to glory. It's the Texaco State Wrestling Championships, only on OC 16, exclusively on Spectrum.
Darren Matsuda, 13th season as the Punahou head coach. Been with Punahou since 2006. They're up 8 right now and a chance to win a record-setting 12th state title. But we've seen this situation before in the OIA, no matter what the league is here. There is a fine line between playing to win and playing not to lose. They're 341 away from a title. How do you view that, and how razor-thin is that borderline between playing to win and playing not to lose with a lead like this?
I think you have to continue to have an attacking mentality. You're just not going to take the same amount of risks to go and get that. But you have to take some, but they have to be smart ones. So drawing that line and figure out what that is, someone like Zion White, you can still make the same pass, but take an extra count to make sure that pass gets there. It's not as important to get the quick bucket as it is to take care of the ball. So figuring out which ones of those are and making the strong, smart, patient decision.
Cepulone's played in so many clutch moments. So many memorable moments in the Ilani Classic. 27 points in a matchup against Montverde. a couple years ago, and here he is, shortens that one. This ball comes back to Punahou, and a chance to get maybe a 3 or 4 point trip here. Meacham, wrap around, Nanuha. Oh, he missed it. Stays here. Zion White saying Punahou hit it. Shanson Revelto is saying, hey, give me the ball so I can throw it in quick. Again, there's no replay review for that situation, and now they need a towel. You see Ray Fujino in the background, former OI executive director, one of the all-time great guys, and now athletic director at Island Pacific Academy. Where are all the towel guys? Weren't they supposed to wipe the floor?
They're floor wipers. That was a wet ball.
Oh, okay. They need a towel. Fernando gets fouled. Looked like Watanabe was with him. Instead, they're going to call here on I swear I saw 11, which would be Kellner. It's a 13 foul here for Punahou. Revelto. Oh, yeah. Needed that. Big bucket. Timeout. St. Louis.
Shanson Revelto 0 for 9 prior to that shot. But when it's in the biggest moments, he just finds a way to focus just a little bit more, lock in, and figures out how to make the play.
And Revelto doing it with a banged up hand, and he has shown just unbelievable toughness to propel this team to 3 consecutive titles. And with a win here for St. Louis, it would put them into some rarefied air. I mean, 9 is nice, but when you get to double figures, ooh, 10 is very, very good. Iolani and Punahou, each with 11. You see Kamehameha with 7. Kalaheo, the highest OIA team in Division I championship, with 5. And here for St. Louis, they've won 11 games in a row in the state tournament, consolation included. You know the last team, by the way, to beat St. Louis by chance?
I do not.
Iolani.
Wow.
Came all the way back in about 2007 in a consolation round. And St. Louis, I mean, yeah, they had their amazing years in the late 50s, and it kind of peaked a little bit early on, maybe in the early 90s. But, I mean, in the recent basketball history, before this three-peat run, I mean, a lot of it was the likes of Punahou, Iolani, Kamehameha. Shuffle those around in the early 2010s. St. Louis has found a way to bring basketball and that life back on campus. And as we hit the 3-minute mark, Punahou up 2 scores. Every possession, every point precious. Moving screen, other way. Watanabe.
It all just happened so fast. I didn't really see what happened. I saw the action and Zion White going on the attack. But here's St. Louis again with a chance to cut down the lead even further.
Sepulona. Meacham. Fernando. No, he'll go to the free throw line. 2:40 to go. It's on Watanabe. So he picks up his 3rd. And St. Louis is in the bonus here in the final 2:40 in a 4-point game.
Kalen Fernandez moving before the ball even got there. Just got to the dead middle of that zone. About 5 people in the basket, rolls up. Got the hit on the arm.
Oh, Fernando with 65% this season. As a team, they're 54%. Kind of right in the middle of the pack in the ILH Division I this year. He splits it, but he pulls this team within 3. Pressure picking up. White's been operating with the ball majority of the second half. Zion White in the lane. Wide, lost it, and he drew a foul. St. Louis, that's the 2nd of the quarter. This one will go against Pupu Sepulona. So now Sepulona going to pick up his 3rd foul.
When Zion White gets that head of steam going, it's hard to stay in front of him. So pretty good foul there by Cepolona.
Punahou has 11 turnovers here tonight. I'd say about a quarter of them are self-inflicted. Lazy passes, careless passes. Chung, White, Kellner, Hosoda, Watanabe on the floor. Dash. Side of the backboard. Loose ball. White diving on it. The arrow's favoring Punahou. It'll stay on this side. That's just excellent effort from both teams. Nine to shoot now. Got to pay attention if you're the Buff and Blue. White. Long shot. Missed it. What an odd shot there. St. Louis has lived in these clutch moments. Do have another one in them. It's Ravelto. Meacham. Fernando to tie it. White leaks out against Ravelto. Steps in. No! Got it back and got fouled. Like a jet taking off. Fernando called for his fourth.
Johnson Ravelto did a pretty good job of slowing him down, making him earn it from the free throw line. What looked like a clean look, nearly going to tie the game from Fernando, ends up to be a run out for Zion White.
Zion White at the line, 61%. White is just 45% in the tournament. He's 9 for 20, so he gets to the line a lot. He just doesn't convert a lot, but he has compensated that tough free throw percentage with some hustle plays. Two-possession game, 93 seconds to go. Meacham all the way. Timeout, St. Louis. It's Keanu Meacham again. 8 points for Meacham. What a stud. And a clutch bucket.
Able to burst to that baseline. Zion White staying on the backside because Pupu Cepolona was back there. So you can see him to the right of your screen just backing up instead of going to help on Meacham. And Meacham gets the clean look on the finger roll to the basket.
And if you're St. Louis right now, a couple timeouts and you have a foul to give, and there's still a decent amount of time. Well, you're really gonna see what your heart's made out of here if you're Punahou and St. Louis.
The last few possessions, Punahou just got away from running their offense, where we saw Dash Watanabe dumping off to Dane Kellner, allowing a guy like Zion White to go to the rim, or Zion White can get it maybe at the mid-post, take one dribble, and do some simpler actions just to get it to the rim, but they've lacked flow. We saw that longer jump shot that comes off the rim, ends up to be a stop. So working this offense is going to be important to them, and they've gotten better opportunities because of it.
White to trigger.
Oh, this one's stolen by Fernando. Ravelto ties the game.
One minute to go. White got it. What is happening in Manoa? Fernando, 15 to shoot. Ravelto for the lead. Wedgie! A state final wedgie! It'll be a reset of the shot clock because they go to the arrow there. And now they can hold for the final if they want to. And a timeout taken by St. Louis with 28.4 remaining. And then Dan Hale saying, hey, I didn't call timeout. But Trent Revelto clearly called timeout.
Shanton Revelto, the coach, on the floor.
Revelto, and we're in front of Revelto, he signaled timeout. And now Punahou's trying to figure out what do they have left. And it was a called timeout. It'll be a full timeout here.
Just literally on the floor. As we said, Shanton Revelto, the coach, on the floor, and he's played like it his entire career. That time recognizing the moment, under 30 seconds, making sure they want to get a good shot off. So he calls the timeout.
Unlikely St. Louis probably takes this down. Unlikely, I would think. You'd think it would be extra shots. But in case we do have replay in the event if we need it, Tom.
And one of the things we talked about, at least I talked with the officials about, it has to be the last play of the fourth quarter or the last play of overtime. It can't be reviewed if there's like 5 seconds left or anything like that. It must be the last play, and you can only review on a game time or game-winning goal. And if it's a goal, whether it's a winning 3 or 2. So if St. Louis attempts a 3, that can be reviewed if it's the last play of the game.
And this will be different if the score was tied, but now down 2, you want to try to maximize your possessions if you're the Crusaders.
So they're going to be patient, but they're going to look for their best opportunity. As you said it, possibly a touch to Pupu Sepulona and just let him go to work. So you're really going to see this Punahou defense swarm.
One of the most incredible streaks in Hawaii Prep basketball history is on the brink of ending. Down 2, 18 to go. Meacham, up top, in and out. Sepulona got fouled with 11.8, and he'll go to the line to try and tie the game. 4 of 7 at the line tonight.
Meacham turns baseline, looks for that jumper. Not a bad look, a shot he can make. Right place, right time. Pupu Sepulona on that left block draws the foul.
Timeout, Punahou. Guardiano gets called for the foul.
Pupu Sepulona, 4 of 7 from the free throw line.
Sepulona talks a lot about what St. Louis has done for him, but what people tend to forget is what he's done for St. Louis. Right? If there was a poster child of what St. Louis athletics or what a student athlete they want to have, it's Pupu. Because for so long, he has been very humble in the accolades that he's accumulated. And he's been put under a gigantic spotlight that gets bigger and bigger with each year. And the more success you have, obviously it's going to get bigger. On his way to Utah for football. But you cannot simulate this pressure. A senior, state final in Manoa, down 2. And the streak on the line.
He's one of those big-time players. We'll see in this moment what he can do from the free throw line. St. Louis still has a foul to give, so they can crash this rebound hard.
2 timeouts for Punahou. They'll take one here. Punahou, by the way, as a team is 68% at the line. Tonight, Punahou is just 3 of 7, 43%.
So the guy that has the best chance of getting the ball, getting open and getting it in would be Zion White. Not a great free throw shooter, though. So you really want to work it to get it to somebody. We saw it later in the game. Hunter Hosoda just stepped up, said, I want the ball, got him open. He stepped up, knocks down those 2 free throws in nearly a similar situation. You still have a timeout left, so you can use it if you get stuck there, but you really do want to try and get it to somebody that's a good free throw shooter. So maybe a Dash Watanabe, maybe a Dane Kellner with the night that he's having, or a Hunter Hosoda. But as a last resort, Zion White has to come and go get it, then you got to give it to him.
So would you have Zion White inbound the ball?
I like someone else's decision-making. We've seen Zion White making a couple tough passes. He might get overexcited, throw a little hard, a little errant. But I'd rather keep him deep, let him come to the ball late if they can't find anyone, but put the decision-making in the hands of maybe a Dane Kellner in that scenario, or even an Ethan Chung.
The Brotherhood praying right now that it does not end tonight. Punahou trying to win a record-setting 12th state title. A lot of factors here. Fernando will guard. Kellner win down the ball. Kellner gets it in.
Oh, this one goes off. It's off, and it's off the Crusaders. Oh, my goodness, that close. Hosoda almost had it. It's not reviewable. Who did this go off of?
Revelto, yeah, I think that is close. Inbound the ball as we return live, and it is White to get it with 9 seconds. That was the foul to give. It's on Meacham, who picks up his 4th.
You know, I think that went off of Hosoda.
I think you're right.
Revelto got the tip, but it's stuck in the hand of Hosoda just for that split second.
One timeout left, and Hosoda has it, and Revelto's got to foul him. And so now it's on Houston Hosoda, who is 81% this year at the line. 2 of 2 in the tournament. Hosoda, the younger brother of Heisman and Hunter Hosoda, they were great multi-sport athletes for the Buff and Blue several years ago. Hosoda, no points. Biggest free throws of his career.
Exact scenario last night. Up 1, went to the free throw line, under 10 seconds. Team up 1. And last night he knocked down those 2, put them up by 3, and then they closed it out.
Houston is no problem. 3-point game. Timeout. With 7.9 here to go.
Absolute ice water. And those were no doubt free throws. Wow.
7.9, you're empty on timeouts here. And St. Louis here tonight, by the way, is 2 for 12 shooting the 3. Fernando hit 1, Revelto hit 1, and they got to go 94 feet here.
So yeah, you're looking for a 3 in this moment. You want to get the cleanest one you can get possible. You do not have the time to attack the basket, get a 2, and foul. You'd have to get it incredibly quick, but it'd be about 3 seconds left to try and foul and get back down the floor. So you're looking for a 3 here.
So he gave the scenario here, Tom, from a coach's perspective. What's this like situation for an official?
Well, one of the things I even talked to the officials about is make sure, whether it's a goal or no goal, you make sure you have a call on the floor. Because if you have to go to replay and you cannot have a good enough replay view, you have to stick with what you called on the floor. So make sure you're in position to call it, as well as making sure the clock properly starts and stops, because you could have a foul in this situation. You have to make sure the clock stops properly.
Thank you, Tom. Meacham, Revelto, Sepulona, Nanuha, and Fernando on the floor. The dynasty at stake here. 7.9 remaining. Sepulona, 5 to go. He can only tie it. Advanced it. Revelto. This is up for the tie. It's up! It's over! The Buff and Blue beat the Brotherhood! 12th time in school history, Punahou will claim the state title. St. Louis in shock and awe on an unbelievable streak. Revelto, decent look, just long. And when the clock hit 000, the Sons of Oahu are state champions. Punahou wins it 43-40.